Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Hola, yo soy Clemente y este es tu canal Criptocomo. Si quieres aprender a usar e invertir en criptomonedas, estás en el lugar correcto. Hoy tengo una invitada especial, increíble que esté aquí con nosotros, Brittany Kaiser. Hola Brittany, bienvenida. Déjame dar una introducción. Let me make an introduction of you. Hi Brittany, thank you so much for being here with us at Criptocomo. It's great to have you here, your amazing journey and thoughts on blockchain, data rights, and experience as a whistleblower. Very interesting. You're well known for Netflix, The Great Hack in English, and have grown into Web3 leader as a co-founder and CEO of Chateaushi AG. You're working on exciting project to tokenize historic real estate with CAESL Token, CAESL Token. To begin, our audience would love to hear your story. How did you first get interested in blockchain and what inspired you to follow this path, Brittany? Welcome.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and to talk about what I think is one of my favorite topics, really, which is, how I got interested in Web3 and distributed ledger technology. I was lucky enough to be quite early. I had a very good friend that got me interested in Bitcoin in 2011. We were both studying human rights and conflict resolution. And he told me, there's this, Bitcoin thing that you need to learn more about. It's going to be the future of privacy, the future of freedom, the future of human rights. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to have to learn more about this. And so I started learning how it functioned. I went to go visit a Bitcoin mine for the first time. Back then, it was just loads of computers that were creating Bitcoin. It was only 50 cents back then.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. I can send digital money from me to someone else without a bank, without a government being able to stop me from doing that.
Exactly.
And that's pretty exciting. That's, very different to the way that money and technology function. And then I started getting, more deep into how it works, why it works that way. And I was in law school at the time, training as a human rights lawyer. And in 2014, I was at the European Parliament when they had the first discussion on if European banks would ever be able to accept Bitcoin. And I thought, okay, well, this is getting pretty serious. Very cool. And it was a year or two after that. I was at Cambridge Analytica, not yet a whistleblower, when I thought, hey, the way that technology works, big tech, is not really compatible with human rights. And so I want to go full-time into crypto. And I left Cambridge to go full-time into crypto and immediately started working on projects in the space, but mostly on the legislative side. Because back then, if you are an American and building a company, you can expect to get in trouble with the government.
Yeah.
If you're trying to build a crypto company or create a token. So I worked a lot in legislation. I helped write a lot of the first Bitcoin and blockchain laws in the US and helped a lot of other countries adopt their first blockchain laws. And then I felt like I could finally start building companies in the industry. So it's now been a 15-year journey. And finally, I'm, able to be a serial exit founder and now working on my main passion project in the industry.
Congratulations. Awesome. Brittany, before we go deeper into the interview, I love to know, what did you dream becoming when you were a child?
I wanted to be an archaeologist. My whole life, I wanted to be an archaeologist. And then I went to college for archaeology. And at university, I was studying it and I took a job in the field. And I realized that there was not really very sustainable funding for historic restoration, for museums, for landmarks and monuments. And I thought, well, this is going to be hard to make a career if there's no money for these things. But it seems like the entire world wants to go spend time at landmarks and monuments and museums, and this drives the whole tourism industry. So how could there not be enough money to do the restoration and to preserve all of these important historic places. So I always thought this is a problem that I'd like to solve.
Awesome. And just in US or around the world?
Around the world, definitely. I've been lucky enough to travel to nearly 140 countries. And every time I go there, I go straight to the most important landmarks, monuments, whether that's castles, palaces, archaeological heritage sites, the places that are important to the national history of the country that I'm in. It's something that's always drawn me to travel to places, because I want to see this particular old place. And, I'm still that way. I've always been that way. And now I've made it the new part of my career to combine technology and history together.
Yeah. Awesome. Who were your really early influences or mentors in this field of blockchain?
Oh, that's a very good question. So when I first got into Bitcoin mining, I only knew like 3 other people who even knew what a Bitcoin was. So it was really one of my best friends at the time who taught me about it. And I could read about it on online forums, but it was really hard to actually figure out who was actually doing this as a career. Obviously, no one knew exactly who Satoshi was. Most people on like the Bitcoin Talk forums and other online forums were anonymous. So I was always thinking, like, how am I actually going to figure out who in this industry is actually, doing this full time? And so it wasn't until 2016, when I was living in New York, I got introduced to someone who said he was friends with a lot of people in crypto. And I thought, well, I feel like I've been by myself for 5 years. I don't know who else in the world that I can actually put a face to a name that is in crypto. And so he said, oh, I'm going to take you and introduce you to Brock Pierce. and him and all of his friends are some of the earliest people in the industry, and they'll teach you all about it. So when I went to go meet Brock, someone who is one of the grandfathers of the industry, so to say, and also someone who has spent a lot of time in his life doing historic preservation. He buys a lot of historic buildings and helps restore them, creates a community around it, and opens it up to the public, which is so beautiful.
Yes.
I was just so excited to finally meet someone who had been building in this industry for a long time and helped introduce me to, I would say, not just hundreds now, maybe thousands of people since we met in 2017. And he also introduced me to Caitlin Long, who I started working with on all of the crypto legislation. So when I left Cambridge Analytica, I actually moved to the state of Wyoming to work with her on writing all the first Bitcoin and blockchain laws. And that was because Brock had actually introduced me to her.
Very interesting. Can you tell us about a defining moment that sparked your passion to blockchain? A moment that was a changing moment?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I felt very, very, inspired and motivated when I read for the first time the Bitcoin white paper, which was in 2011. And then I started reading more of the work of some of the people in that paper, like Scott Stornetta and David Schwamm. I'm lucky enough to now be friends with David Schwamm, and I've done talks with both Scott Stornetta and David Schwamm publicly at conferences now, which has just been amazing. But when I first read all of their research and their work, I thought, oh, well, it is possible that this technology solves a lot of problems in transparency, privacy, freedom, human rights. And this could be the underpinning for something that really, really changes the world.
Awesome. I need to ask this question, Brittany. Sorry for asking this question. How did you experience as a whistleblower shape your current focus on blockchain, data rights, and open source AI?
Yeah. So for me, I think one of the things that I was concentrating on as a whistleblower is trying to spread education and awareness of how technology functions.
Yes.
That the way that most technology works is extractive, that it tries to take as much data from you as possible.
Yep.
In order to monetize it for a company, in order to use it to sell you more things or target you in different ways. But really, it's to take as much away from you as possible.
Yes.
Both your data and your money and your time and your attention. And none of it, most commonly used technologies are not open source. They are not transparent. You don't have good consent mechanisms or permission structures to say what you are okay with, or if you want to keep some of your data private. So when I started studying Bitcoin, blockchain, and open source technologies, I thought, oh, well, there's this whole world of technology out there that actually cares about transparency and consent and permission and property rights, human rights. So I thought, well, this is something that is so exciting for me that actually I can leave a company like Cambridge Analytica and I can go full time into an industry that is built on open source, decentralized, transparent technologies that give you the right and permission to choose when you want to share or transfer your digital assets. And you can create a smart contract where instead of signing 40, 50-page terms and conditions on an app on your phone where you have no idea what's actually going on, that you can create clear permissions and consent on what you're okay with and what you're not before you share your digital assets, whether that be your data or blockchain tokens, which, blockchain tokens are still just encrypted data. It's all encrypted ones and zeros. So it's the same thing as personal data in the end, technologically. And so for me, I really felt like as a whistleblower trying to explain to people the problems with big tech, it is one thing, but to be able to show people what the possible solutions look like is a lot more empowering. Instead of just fear mongering, you can say, well, actually, I do have some of the solutions, and I think there are already technologies in the world that can help fix the issues.
Awesome. I completely agree with that. And that motivated you to found own your data foundation and other initiative after Cambridge Analytica?
Yeah. So in 2019, so the year after I became a whistleblower, I co-founded the Own Your Data Foundation with my sister, Natalie. She's a specialist in working with children and childhood education and child psychology. And so we started by working on education and awareness initiatives. So how could you teach people not just raising awareness globally, but to create generational change where young people today, instead of taking privacy or data protection for granted, that they actually think before they use technology. They think about what they want to use and why they want to use it, instead of just choosing something for convenience, so that they can not just be protected, but be empowered and use technology that serves them instead of use technology that takes advantage of them. So the Own Your Data Foundation has concentrated for the past 6 years in how do we raise awareness, how do we create more content and curriculum about digital literacy so that young people, old people, everyone around the world has more access or democratized access to the type of information that allows you to be a more conscious consumer of technology.
Awesome. That's a great job, and I like that. What are some of the key benefits you aim to provide to the community through the world?
For me, I really feel like the most important thing that I can provide to people are the tools to make better decisions for themselves, so that they can as I said, not just be protected, but be empowered. I'm a technologist because I really believe in the positive and socially impactful use cases of technology. That's how I ended up at Cambridge Analytica, because I wanted to learn how to use advanced predictive analytics for impact causes. And I quickly learned that obviously technology is in the eye of the beholder. So people can use it for bad things as well as good things.
Yeah.
So it's important for everyone to be educated enough on what technologies exist, how they function, how to use them, so that you can have a successful career and a happy life while using technology, and protect yourself from being targeted or using technologies that can work against you.
Awesome. Could you explain the vision behind Chateaushi? It's a very interesting name, and how blockchain enables fractional ownership of the historic properties?
Yes. So I'm so glad that you asked me earlier what I wanted to be when I grew up, because that's such an important part of this story. Since I spent my whole childhood wanting to be an archaeologist, and I originally was going to major in it in college, but I ended up minoring and still did my first job in archaeology. When I finally got into tech, I thought, okay, well, the problems that I saw with lack of funding for history can be solved by some of these technologies. So in 2017, I wanted to create a castle coin ecosystem so that we could have a funding mechanism for historic restoration, for keeping historic buildings open to the public, for funding archaeological heritage sites, for funding the type of work that museums and research institutions do. But the laws weren't favorable at the time. The laws didn't exist yet in 2017 or 2018 to describe the fractional ownership or a real utility token economy to access these places. So in 2021, I went to Switzerland, where they had created security token law and security token exchanges. And there were at the time over 300 companies that had tokenized their the equity in their company and put it on a security token exchange. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. If you're able to tokenize equity in a company, you can tokenize equity in a company that owns real estate. And I started seeing that even though the laws in the US didn't allow me to do this, the laws in Europe did. Yep. And in Switzerland specifically, but France and even now the UK and many others have defined this in law, that if you want to tokenize, a share, that you can do that. And that speeds up the time that you can list something publicly. It allows you to create fractional ownership, because you don't have to tokenize the entire company.
Yes.
You can choose just a little bit of it. And I thought, well, most of the estates that need funding assistance, they don't need to, take out a mortgage against 100% of the value of their estate. They can tokenize just a little piece of it.
Yes.
And get enough money to do the restoration work, to do marketing and advertising, and to become, a successful business.
Yes.
So to me, it made sense that the easiest way to fund history is to be able to tokenize a portion of an estate, and people all over the world that love this castle or this archaeological heritage site can all buy a little piece of it. It doesn't change really the control of the place at all. The owner still remains the majority owner and in control of the place, but all these people that have bought a little piece of it now have a reason to want to go visit it.
Yes.
So then you have a deal flow of people that are coming to visit and want to stay and want to spend money there. They want to do their wedding or their conference or their birthday or what have you, or family vacation in this place. And so it can drive demand for the business, and it creates the sustainable funding where you can have a treasury for many years to come of the money that the place needs to be successful.
Awesome. And how is Satoshi navigating regulating frameworks like Europe's MiCA, and what lessons can offer other projects team or learn? Sorry.
Well, we've spent 4 years navigating the laws and regulations. I have spent a silly amount of money on lawyers, but luckily, since I have a legal background myself and I do a lot of legislative drafting, and I've helped co-author a lot of the laws around blockchain technology, I have a very good understanding of what's possible. And I've worked with lawyers in the UK, France, Italy, and Switzerland in order to figure out what is possible in each place. So we've created a dual token architecture in Satoshi, where when it's possible to tokenize equity in an estate, we can create dividend-bearing security tokens. So similar to what a lot of commercial real estate investors are used to, where you can buy dividend-bearing shares. You can buy a dividend-bearing security token. So it feels the same as other commercial real estate investments, except you also can get access rights. So when you buy our security tokens, you also get utility tokens to book to go stay in those places. And where security tokenization is not allowed, we can do utility tokenization, meaning we tokenize access rights. So we can pre-sell access to a place in order to create enough money to have a treasury for that estate. And then people can use those tokens to book to go stay there, or to book out the whole place for their own events, or to go to get tickets to VIP events or experiences or tours in these places. And so I think instead of tourism drip feeding business throughout the year, you can sell a large amount of utility tokens at once and create that treasury to do bigger projects like redoing the roof of a castle, which can cost millions of euro, as an example. So that's what this dual token architecture allows us to do, and remain compliant in every jurisdiction.
Amazing, amazing. How can people get involved with or support your initiative?
Yeah, so would love all of the support from people around the world that care about this impact cause, care about history, but also think it's cool to participate in it as a business and not just as philanthropy. Mm-hmm. So you can go to our website, chateaushi.com. So it's French for castle, chateau, Chateau, then SHI. So it sounds like Satoshi. And if you go to chateaushi.com, at the top, it says our token sale is live for CASL, CASL token. You can click there. You make an account on the Origins platform. There's no KYC or anything. You can log in with an email or a Telegram handle, and then you can choose any crypto token. Most of the top tokens are listed there, and you can choose what you want to buy CASL token in. So if everybody listening to this bought $50, $100 of this token, this project will be immensely successful. We don't need just a few people buying a lot. We need a lot of people just chipping in a little bit. So think of it as you're pre-buying your vacation in one of these beautiful historic places at a discount. And so you can buy some castle tokens. Right now, there's over 40 different castles, palaces, and historic villas on our platform that you can book that are in the UK, France, and Italy. And we have a line of over 800 estates that are waiting to be added to the platform. Wow. So we're adding more day by day, which is exciting. And we're going to be expanding all over the world, to everywhere from India to Egypt to Mexico, where some of the most incredible historic places in the world are. We really see this as a global business where we can help not just private estate owners, but ministries of culture, nonprofits, foundations that are taking care of these beautiful historic places, and find them different ways to get sustainable financing.
Awesome. With the CAESL token, is there a token generation event close?
Yes, it will be happening this coming quarter. We're going to be releasing our TGE date very shortly. So watch this space, check out our social media at Chateaushi, or me at Own Your Data Now for an announcement coming up soon. But we're very excited. This is going to be happening very soon. So our pre-sale is live for now, and soon you'll be able to buy it on the public markets.
Brittany, the best way to connect with you is through the website, or do you have like another way that is better to connect with you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can write to me, Brittany at Chateaushi.com. You spell my first name Brittany. So please feel free to write to me. Would love to answer all of your questions. Would love to talk to anybody that cares about the preservation of history and Web3. I don't think anyone else has done a project at the intersection of those two spaces before. So really excited to hear from any of you.
How can individuals or organizations collaborate with you on your mission?
Well, we would love all the different types of partnerships, especially if you know a nonprofit foundation, a state owner, a ministry of culture that would like to work with us that we're not in touch with yet. So please do reach out. More than happy to create a call or a meeting with our partnerships team and see how we can help you or work together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Where can people what practical steps can newcomers take today to support data rights and blockchain adoption?
I think one of the most important things that every individual can do is learn how these technologies work. Definitely go out and try different digital identity platforms, try out different wallets, learn how they function, and then teach other people. That's been one of my favorite things to do over the past 15 years is say, if you don't know how this works, I'm here to help you. Let me show you. And you can onboard people one by one. And if you live in a place where blockchain legislation is being presented or discussed, definitely call your representatives, your legislators in your area and tell them you want them to vote for this legislation so that we can have rules and regulations to continue building companies in this industry.
Thank you. Brittany, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story and insights. It's been incredibly enlightening for us and our community. If you want to say something to the public, please be free to do it.
We would absolutely love to hear from you. Please follow us at Chateaushi and me at Own Your Data Now. Check us out at Chateaushi.com. We'd love if you want to participate in our CAESL Token pre-sale, which you can on our website. And we look forward to hosting you at a castle or other historic estate nearby.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time and for being here with us and the Crypto community. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Thank you so much.